All right, what is up, y'all? This is Austin Pegram here with Fitness That Fits You. I am, of course, the owner of Fitness That Fits You and the head coach and your host here of the Fitness That Fits You podcast. Today, I have someone very special on the episode. This individual actually mentored me amongst my 30-year lifetime of, having some other mentors in my life. He was my most recent mentor there at ProRehab Physical Therapy. I'm going to introduce Mr. Daryl Williams to you all, director and doctor of physical therapy there at ProRehab. Daryl, thanks for joining us, sir.
Hey, Austin, I appreciate you having me on, man. I'm excited to be here. It's kind of a long time coming. I kind of watched you start this brand and pushed you to make it something, more serious and bet on yourself. So to see it all come to fruition and be a part of your actual podcast now, I'm to go on iTunes and download you
Yeah,
so I can pay attention.
yeah, dude, the download would be great. And so,
I got you.
and I, I've been trying to get people to well, okay, so there's like a lot of like information about whether or not you should do downloads or get people to subscribe. I think the downloads or anyway, the subscribe, if you will, please. Downloads are great too. Okay. Yeah.
I could do that.
All right, cool. All right, y'all. So real fast before I kind of let Daryl like tell you all about him, because I want to make sure that you all have a background of who Daryl is. Of course, we want to know our people really well. If you hear me kind of being a little scratchy a little bit, some of you all know that Becca and I have been dealing with a little bit of some COVID blues here the last 3 or 4 days or so. So we are in quarantine. We are on the mend. But I just want you all to know if I get to coughing and stuff, that is why. Everyone else is safe. We're all feeling great. Just keep that in mind if I'm struggling to get my sentence out, okay? Daryl, so tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Everything from birth, because I know you can remember when you were born, all the way up
I don't know, man. Apparently, you can remember all the way back to when you was 2 years old, according to you, Austin. So, from what I remember, back when I was 2 years old. No. So, so yeah. So, my parents were in the military, kind of moved around, every 3 years. I was actually born in Germany, and then bounced around from state to state every 3 years until my dad retired out of Fort Knox. So now they live in E-Town. So I graduated from Central Hardin High School and then went to Western Kentucky University for my undergraduate, go Tops. Played football there for a year. And then when I was done at Western and got my bachelor's of exercise science, I went to Bellarmine University for my doctorate of physical therapy. So that's kind of my education background. I got my doctorate of physical therapy back in, let me see, I'm old now. I feel old at least.
when you say old
Two,
now.
oh man, 34, 34. So I turned actually 34 in February. So I feel old. Two little kids that do that to you. So I graduated in 2013, got my doctorate, and then I've been practicing for about almost 4 years when I decided to get my specialty license and sports. So now I'm a sports certified specialist in physical therapy, a board certified specialist in physical therapy as well. And my main focus is really sports medicine and working with athletes of all ages, of all sports. My most passionate athletes, I think, are my fitness athletes, because that's an up and coming community and a special group of people in themselves. So that's kind of where I try to spend most of my time, developing my skills and learning and meeting new people is in that community. So
Nice. And you've got I'm not sure like to what extent this provokes the confidentiality, but you've got a friend, if you will, who also is a Olympic athlete. Are you allowed to say that? Are you allowed to say? Are you allowed to talk about it?
nah, I can't drop any names for the
Okay.
confidentiality, but yes, I do have some professional athlete friends and some
Yeah.
people under my care, which is to me, I think, is the ultimate gesture that I'm on the right track and I'm providing quality care is when, those guys and gals trust you, with their livelihood. So
Yeah, man. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay. So you all kind of got a good idea of Daryl. Whatever questions you may have, whatever information you'd like to know, he obviously in the way of fitness and movement, recovery, et cetera, is going to have that information for you. So he's going to be the guy to go to. Now, ProRehab they have, obviously excuse me, an abundance of like great physical therapists there. But I have personally had the pleasure, if you will, of working with Daryl. And I want to say, who was my first? I think it was Eric, right? Yeah. Eric was like the first guy that like brought me on. So these two guys have really kind of helped like pave the way, get me into the door, kind of push me like along the way, like just getting me on the path that I have been. So I initially started off, some of you know the story, but started off working in like boot camps and, some mild personal training with Edge Body Boot Camp and just by myself. And then I got into that world of physical therapy. I walked, and Daryl, you may not know this story, man, but so I was at Edge Body Boot Camp and I was just like, that place is great. The community is awesome. But I just like needed something different. And so, I graduated with an economics degree in anthropology and, kind of just shat around on my degree for the most part because I was just having a good time in college, and so I didn't really expect to do anything with it. But I just know I needed to leave where I was. I needed more information. I just like needed something different. I was driving. This is like right after we moved to Tyler Lane over there, like Gardner Lane where Assumption is. And I drove past ProRehab and it had probably been like the third time I'd driven past that place and thinking to myself, man, I really should go in there and try to like apply for another job. I need to go ahead and make the move. And so I walk in there one day, I was driving by. I was like, you know what? I'm about to just turn in here and do it. And so it was on a whim, man. It was on a whim. So I like drove in there and I had a resume with me and everything. And I walked in there and I had no expectations of working in the back, none whatsoever. And I got there and I was just like, hey, I just need, something different. I thought to myself, if I can, put myself in this office environment, because they clearly had a front, you all have a front office. If I could put myself in that environment, people would see, oh, he's got a different personality about him. Let's have him do something else. And so I got in there, got to working with him, and Daryl actually walked up to me one day and he was just like, hey, so, because initially I was going to be like a hybrid, if you will, doing the front office stuff, the sit down work that I had been doing for years and was absolutely tired of. I was desperate to do anything. And Daryl walked up to me one day and was like, hey, so, today you're going to finish up here. And then the last half of the day, you're going to come in the back. And then we're just going to keep you in the back because you seem like somebody that's like wants to be with people, is going to be good with people and up on their feet. And I looked at him, and because I was so like kind of nervous and just didn't really know the field at all, it was like, okay, that sounds good to me. Okay. But man, let me tell you, as far as grace goes, as far as just the universe sending you messages and stuff like that was a big message. And so there are certain people in certain places. I'm a big believer in signs. I'm really dramatic. You know that about me. So like that in itself, man, was a sign. So you'll always be a part of that big sign in my book. You kind of said, come on back here. And that's been my niche ever since, right? I've had that leg up on the average personal trainer, the average coach, because of my background there as a PT technician. Okay. So hopefully that doesn't push your ego too much, but
no, man.
I
stalked you on Facebook. So I was like, nah, this guy can't be sitting up front, man. He doesn't look like the type that likes to sit down too long.
Yeah,
I got to get him up and get him moving because he looks uncomfortable sitting in that chair the whole time.
Yeah. Let me tell you, dude. I mean, and at this point now, and I've kind of talked to you about this, but like when I first started there, like on my feet all the time, my back was so my back is still because I spent so many years sitting. And so like when I say so many years, I mean like 2013 when I graduated until 2018 when I came to work at ProRehab. So a good 5 years of just like sitting down for 9 hours a day. Like that has a big impact on your body. And so when I got up and started walking around for 9 hours a day, man, Daryl, my back was working, let me tell you. But at any rate, after a while, my legs got strong, my glutes got strong, everything else.
Oh God, he goes.
Everything else is good to go. Okay, cool beans. So I kind of want to, while I have Daryl here, I definitely want to use Daryl to, promote as much conversation as possible in the way of fitness, because he is going to have that sports medicine background. He is going to have that information with regards to corrective exercise, trying to address and fix, movement compensations for just quality of movement. He's going to have that background with preventative health, rehabilitative health. So I definitely want to use him to, to get that information out there for anyone who may be listening. Okay. So Daryl, I really just want to know like the importance of being able to integrate all of those things. Like I said, your rehabilitative, your corrective, your preventative, and just taking your knowledge, your know-how. Like, what's the importance of integrating all of that into a fitness program? Because I think a lot of people looking for coaching don't necessarily know what to look for. And so, I don't pass any judgment or anything like that on other coaches. I just know that I've built this expectation for myself because of where I believe I started. So I want them to hear that from you also, and just kind of create conversation from there.
Yeah, so I think where all that plays into somebody's lifetime of fitness, or their fitness pathway, it kind of always go back to saying too much of one thing is a bad thing, where you look at, and the landscape is definitely changing, but early on in a lot of these boot camp classes that I would see pop up, or these niche fitness activities pop up, is that they were very dominant in one plane of movement, or very dominant in one movement pattern or one type of movement. And as a result of that, people develop imbalances, whether it be flexibility imbalances, strength imbalances, mobility imbalances. And it's not that those things cause injury right away, but over time and over repetition, they lead to increased stress on joints and tissues that ultimately can become painful and really start to hinder your movement quality, not only in the gym, but outside of the gym with daily activities. So, I think it's highly important to have a movement specialist that you see regularly, or to consult with a movement specialist like a physical therapist, to really get an idea of where those limitations are at, and help work with that physical therapist to create a game plan to help fix those things, and communicate, from my end, communicating with the coach or the trainer that they're working with, to say, hey, here is what I've noticed, here is what I think needs to be the emphasis, can we incorporate that into their program? Because ultimately, I'm not one of ego when it comes to, now don't get me wrong, I can be a little arrogant at times, but nonetheless, when it comes to my, when it comes to athletes or the patients I work with, like, my ego could immediately goes out the door, because I'm there for that athlete.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to communicate and work with other disciplines to say, hey, here's what I'm picking up on. I want you to be able to implement that, or address that, so that way, they can stay healthy. And the way I look at gyms and personal trainers, sometimes I feel there's a fear, like we're going to steal their client. Really, my job is to make sure that your athlete is healthy enough and pain-free, so they can continue to come to you and to continue to see you, which ultimately leads to increased revenue for you, because they stay a long time member of yours.
Yeah.
Dealing with an injury and they don't get it addressed, a lot of times those guys and gals, they fall off, they stop coming because they hurt all the time. So
Right. And that's I'm glad you said that because I've got a couple people that I've sent to ProRehab specifically to see you, and as a result of that communication, they have been getting better. So those sort of things are awesome, and definitely necessary. So tell me a little bit, because you had mentioned moving in that one-dimensional plane, or that those one plane sports and activities. So for a while, you were a pretty heavy CrossFit athlete, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so tell
Yep.
me, like, how did, you being a physical therapist, you like know what to do, but did you ever kind of feel yourself like falling into that same, because I mean, there had to be a ton of volume. There had to be a lot of work that you were doing. Did you ever feel like you could keep up by doing some of the things, outside of that, or, I guess, I don't know if my question's a little out there.
Oh man, we're our own worst patients, I think. Just like you're your own worst trainer, right?
Yeah.
Where yeah, we fall. I mean, as movement specialists, we fall victim to injury as well. But I think with my education and experience, it really helps me to step away and realize when I'm dealing with these type of injuries and be okay or be comfortable modifying the activity intensity, or doing something different outside of what is going on in class, just because I know that's what my body needs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm still, I still do a lot of CrossFit. That's still my primary means of fitness. And as a whole, I think it's a great means of fitness for me. In the sense of the community that you spend your time with, and that community holds you accountable to making sure that you're there to work out and exercise, and when you're not, you're going to get the text message, or made fun of in the group chat. But nonetheless, just like anything, too much of one thing is a bad thing. And over my years of doing CrossFit, I've started to realize that I need to do some different things, and it's okay to do that. I'm still going to be able to get the same level of fitness, if not even more fit, but also keep my injury risk down, or keep my injury rate down, as well. So yeah, I think that's for anything. I think people, we can't put fitness in one bucket.
Yeah.
Fitness needs to go into multiple buckets. You need to, I used to compete in bodybuilding, and that was my idea of fitness, right? Is bodybuilding. And then I realized, hell, I can't run a mile. Yeah, I look strong, but I can't run that far. I can't, I can't do anything. So my whole view, and nothing against the bodybuilding community, because I have a great respect for what those guys and girls do, and the dedication that it takes to compete. But for me, that's when I think it hit me that fitness needed to look different for me in order for me to continue fitness over my lifetime. So that's when I started to try new things, gymnastics things, more cardio based things, is still lifting heavy, still moving weight, but incorporate other things that ultimately made me feel better, move better. I think I'm way more fit in my 30s than I've ever imagined being in my 20s.
Hell yeah.
So I just try to get better every year at something.
That's a good insight, man, for the people getting older that think they're actually getting like older. They think they're getting older mentally, and so like they can't, but you feel better than you ever have. So
Yeah,
that's
absolutely. I don't get old.
yeah.
Old's a mindset to me.
So you still lifting that? I remember that day that you were deadlifting at the gym at ProRehab. It was like 500 pounds. You still hitting that 500?
No, man, I work out so early in the morning now. So, back since this whole COVID thing started, I haven't been to the gym since March. That wasn't really. At that time I had a how old was my daughter? 4 month old, and a 2 year old at home. So, the
Yeah.
risk really wasn't there for me to go to the gym, because my wife and I had invested already in pretty much a CrossFit gym in our garage. Now,
Okay.
we didn't really use it because we had gym memberships, but it was there just in case, we got a bad night of sleep with the baby and we just needed to catch a workout at night. But nonetheless, it came into use. So now, I'm still up at 3:45 every morning, out in the garage at 4:15. But I can't deadlift. I can't deadlift 500 pounds because I can't let it hit the ground. I don't want to wake the kids up. But
Yeah.
we still throw 315 on there for some reps, some silent reps.
Okay.
But yeah, no, we still get after it early in the morning in the garage.
That 315, man, I could probably get, like 3 or 4 reps in, but they will not be silent. So kudos to you. So tell me a little bit. I want to go. You mentioned the pandemic, so I definitely want to go into the pandemic and your family and how that's affected you. Um, for the most part, I've only had women on the show, and that's because my audience is typically women and my client base is typically women. So this is the first time I've had a male on the show. And so I obviously want to dive into your experience with that. But before that, briefly, so you mentioned, I forgot all about your bodybuilding background, just as a fun fact, like just a fun conversation. So tell me a little bit about that. Like, how was that? Like, because I see those people sometimes and I'm just like, yo, like what are you doing? But that's more of it. That's always a lack of understanding, right? So
Yeah.
like, I want to understand.
So I don't know, it's something that always intrigued me. And I've always been one, like, I think my whole mantra is to just push my body to the limits every day, like get the most out of what I can get out of. And I make the joke all the time. I'm like, man, when I cross that final finish line, like I just want to be dragging this body behind me and be like, you can't reuse this one because this one's wore out. Like I got everything out of this one.
Yeah.
So it was a challenge. I was let me see, I was in my final year of PT school, and I just decided I just wanted to do it. I said I'm gonna commit to it. I'm gonna do it. I got with a friend of mine who had done some shows himself, but he pretty much created my program for me, my diet for me for free.
Oh,
So
wow.
I did a 12-month diet that was the most intense thing I've ever done. Yeah, I still haven't eaten tilapia since. But I can't eat it. I can't eat it. But nonetheless, so I did that for 12 weeks and showed up to the show. Let me see. I started out at, God, what did I start? I was 227. And the night before the show, I weighed in at 184,
Dude, what?
3% body fat.
What did that feel like?
It felt like dog shit. I
What?
felt terrible. I'm not even gonna lie. I look good as hell. The best I've ever looked. I want to take my shirt off anytime I got a chance, but I felt terrible.
Oh my
So so there's a couple reasons why I knew it wasn't for me, and one is I didn't feel good doing it. I was finishing up my final year of PT school, man, and I just started to develop some anxiety around food. I
Okay, yeah.
developed some anxiety around being in social settings where I didn't have control over when I could eat because my diet was so strict that if I missed or got off the timing, that like I was really hungry and I became irritable. So yeah, I developed some anxiety around food, some anxiety around being in social settings. I think I ruined a relationship because of it. And it was all I was so dead set on doing well that I didn't really care what I was going to sacrifice to do it. And I went to the show, and first show ever, I came second in
Oh,
the men's
nice.
open and third in the novice division for my first show. So I was pumped, like I did well.
Yeah.
And then it was the next day I had to get a physical actually um, because I was getting ready to start my clinical rotation, and I went and got a physical, and my blood pressure was through the roof. And I know I didn't do it right, and I'm sure if there's anybody in the bodybuilding community that's listening, and I was so deprived, I felt like, of food, or I developed such this anxiety that I literally the following day after my show, I mean, I couldn't stop eating. I ate everything I wanted, anything that was in front of me. I was studying for boards, so I was stressed at the same time.
Hell yeah.
And I gained 32 pounds in a day. 32 pounds
What?
in a day.
Wait. In
And
a day?
in a day, and it was all water. There was
Jesus,
so
man.
much fluid. Yeah. So I didn't pass my physical. So here I am, this 26-year-old male who can't pass the physical because my blood pressure's through the roof.
Yeah.
So it was at that point that I knew it wasn't for me. Like I enjoyed it, but a little bit about my family history. So my real father, he was an addict, he was addicted to alcohol. So I think I have a little bit of that in my personality, but
Okay.
my addiction is fitness.
Yeah.
So I knew that it wasn't safe for me to continue to do this just because of, I wanted to be successful at it, and I was going to do whatever I needed to do to do that. So, I learned a lot about myself, but I think I ruined a lot of things as well. So
Yeah. Well, there you go, y'all. It's not as black and white as you may seem. So
it never is.
a part of my message, my brand is to be comfortable in who you are and in what you are, so that you can get where you want to be, and trying to block out all of the influences that you see, and a lot of those influences can come from that bodybuilding community, and so. When I say that, I mean on social media. I don't know
Yeah.
how in the
Yeah.
real.
So this was all before social media. I didn't, social media didn't really, I mean, when I was in college, I had Facebook, but we didn't have Instagram. We didn't have, TikTok and all of that. So
Yeah.
yeah, there was influence, but man, today, I mean, honestly, that's why I get a lot of athletes that come to see me, is because they see something on social media, or they see a training program on social media that a professional athlete is doing, and
Yeah.
they want to resemble that training volume. And the difference between that person on Instagram and the person I'm seeing is that person on Instagram, that's their full-time job. Right?
Right.
So they have the dedicated time to recover. They have the dedicated time and resources to get the maintenance work done. And whereas the person I'm seeing, they may have two kids, a stressful job. They may sit all day. Their diet may be completely garbage just because that's what they don't have either the resources to eat well or the time to eat well, but yet they want to do what they see on social media. And I just keep telling people, look, we're not, fitness for us unfortunately is not a profession.
Right.
It's we're trying to be fit for the rest of our lives. So you got to change the way you're doing things if you want longevity.
That's right, man. Yeah. So it's what you see, you all, is not always what it is. You heard it from Daryl himself. There is a background there, that is obviously a really tough thing to do. It takes a lot of discipline and a lot of commitment and focus, and a lot of times it's just not sustainable. That's just a touch on the bodybuilding thing, but it's not always what it seems at the surface, as he has explained. Okay, very cool, man. So Daryl's obviously got a ton of background here. We've gotten like off of his fitness, his experience with movement, his sports medicine. I want to talk now about the family life, man. So you mentioned the pandemic. Dive into the fatherhood. I with aside from Daryl being, one of my mentors in life, we've also, I think, connected on the fact that I have two daughters. One is a newborn, 4.5 months old, and he also has two daughters as well. So that's been a really cool conversation point, connection point on our end too. So tell me, man, how is like having because you're newborn. Well, I'm bouncing around, but Daryl has two daughters. The pandemic came
And
before.
March, after. So my youngest daughter actually turns one next week.
Mm,
So she was born in November.
dude, the time, man. It's
The
just like
time,
it's
I
like
can't I can't wrap my head around it, man. It was like she just got here, then the pandemic hit, and then here we are. She's almost one.
hmm
But yeah, so I have a almost 3-year old. She turns 3 in February, and a 1-year old that turns one next week.
yeah.
Yeah, man. The pandemic and it's been a challenge. Not so much. I'm not going to say not so much for me, because we stayed open for the most part during all of this as essential healthcare providers.
Right.
So my routine really didn't change much. If anything, I got a little more time off just because patients weren't coming in, to spend time with my family and get to be at home with my kids a little more. But for me personally, it really didn't change much because I was already doing some of the things anyways because I just had a newborn. So
Okay.
for a perfect example, my daughter was born in November. I worked out at home or at a gym right up the street by myself for until February. I went back to my CrossFit gym in February, and then in March, COVID came.
Got you.
So for me, it wasn't really a transition, or wasn't a difficult transition from my fitness perspective, because I had gotten used to training by myself, and I had all the equipment at home. Um, so I just told myself I wasn't going to make this an excuse. I was going to get up at the same time every day that I usually get up to go work out. I was just going to go out in the garage and do it. And to be honest, man, it really changed. It really opened my eyes to what I was missing out on, because I would get up in the morning and I would work out, and I would go straight from work or working out, shower, go to the gym, and I didn't get to see my kids every morning.
Yeah.
So now that I work out at home, I work out, shower, I cook myself breakfast, cook my wife breakfast. The kids, my daughters, both of them, most of the time they get up before I leave, but they get up and I get to see them and actually spend some time with them. And my daughter's old enough now where she realizes if I'm home or not, or, if I'm working late or not. So, you know, I, now that I think about it, even when this pandemic's over, I don't think I'll ever go back to the gym, because I just can't imagine not having that time.
Yeah, man.
Like I can't imagine, until she's of the age where she sleeps in, and, you got to fight her to get up to school and stuff. I just don't, you know, until she's that age, I'll probably just, continue to do my thing at home, because now I get to work out with my wife every morning.
Yeah.
So she's out there with me, and, we get to hang out in the morning and eat breakfast and see the kids before I go to work. So yes, all of that is before 6:30 a.m.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
Ooh,
right.
man. Yeah, man. So I actually, when Daryl was when he was at Derby City CrossFit quite a bit, he invited me a couple of times, and I'll save some of the actual workout stories for later, for another time. But man, to force myself to get up at 4 just to like kind of get mentally ready to actually get moving at 4:30, to be at his gym he invited me to at 5, it was a struggle. So Daryl can sometimes obviously be a very different breed of individuals. So it's funny, man, that you mentioned that, obviously. So that's like one of the struggles I've been having, just being a self-employed like business owner, is that with my schedule kind of surrounding my clientele, there are days where I am missing the things that I want to see, that's a struggle that you have. You have that conversation with your partner and things like that about, how hard that is, how to navigate that. And so one thing that actually helped was the pandemic, believe it or not, like making people slow down a little bit. I got to be at home for a couple of weeks, with my child, and with Becca, and I don't think that would have happened following her birth. I don't think that would have happened if I was working for someone else full time. During the pandemic when it first started, it had to be, what was it, like a month and a half, 2 months where the gyms were closed.
Mm-hmm.
I think obviously essential workers, they were still in, but gyms were closed for a while. I couldn't see people for a couple months. I was at home, family time, so those things have been great. And now that Becca has been going back to work and we have the newborn, my schedule's changed again to kind of optimize that time that I'm spending with the baby as well. And one thing that I noticed, man, is that like in the beginning, like the baby, like I would come home and it would be like kind of starting over again. And and so like, and that would be hard, because it'd be like, man, like I know that you know me, but right now it's just like all your mom, so like you
Yeah.
don't really want anything to do with me, but when those moments happen, when those weeks happen where I'd be home by like just with the child, just with her and with Becca, so much progress will be made in just a couple of days.
Oh yeah.
They just need a couple of days of you being around them all the time.
Oh yeah. They pick up on it.
Yeah.
Pick up on it.
So now it's like I walk in, she knows me, she sees me, and she's getting old enough now to where she like reaches for you, which is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
So, kind of like what you said, man, like, I don't think I would change any of this. I think that when my schedule, like I said, it's a little tough. It's tough for me because Saturday is like a big day for my industry because it's like people are off work and everybody wants to break on Sunday, so they want to get in without the stress of their jobs, their 9 to 5s, and kill it on Saturday with their coach. So like it's like, oh, that's a great day, but that day is dedicated to being at home now. And so I think that even when things kind of circle back and potentially if Becca has a different work schedule, I don't think I would change that. I think those weekends are going to stay for the family because
Yeah.
that's a pretty cool experience.
Oh yeah. Well, I feel like if people are serious about their fitness and they're serious about the product that you provide, they're going to make time to fit it in to when they can see you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, you may have to go, you may have to work one Saturday to, if a client misses or something like that and needs to get in. But ultimately, yeah, you can, I mean, I think that's what this whole thing is really, hopefully has taught a lot of people is that, you know, fitness has your fitness life your lifetime or your fitness regimen has so much flexibility in it, that it doesn't have to be so structured and so rigid that you can't miss a beat. But because at the end of the day, I mean, what's our goal? We're just, we're here to exercise, to live a healthy lifestyle. I'm here to work out and, one, make sure I look good naked. Yes. For my wife. But two, to make sure my kids can't beat me in anything as they get older. Don't get it twisted. I'm making sure that I'm fit enough they can't beat me in anything. But nonetheless, there's times where, because we have two little ones, that we may get a terrible night of sleep. And instead of getting 4 days in that week of working out, I may only get in 3.
Yeah.
That used to cause me a lot of anxiety, but it doesn't anymore because I'm not less fit as a result of it.
Yeah.
So it just really kind of helped put things in perspective about what's important, um, during all of this in regards to my fitness, my fitness regimen during COVID.
Yeah. Nice, man. So there's a struggle all around you all during this time. No matter your sex, no matter how many kids you have, no matter your occupation, everybody's kind of going through it and experiencing some life changes. Okay, so
That early morning is the best time though. There's less life in the way before 6 a.m.
hey, I don't know if people go jump on board with that, but I got a handful of people like to get up early with me, but it's just a handful of people. So
Not a whole lot goes wrong before 6 a.m. After that, your day could just blow up and you miss all your fitness. But
that's true. That's true. Well, and Becca made that, or her and her family actually put that home gym together for me. So it may be one of these days it'll click, and I'll wake up and I'll just like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead. Wow, I'm up. I'm gonna go ahead and work out, and then it might just stay that way, but it hasn't clicked yet, man. It'll Alrighty, y'all. So I want to go ahead and wrap this up. Daryl and I both have some kiddos we need to get home to, or get back to rather. And I believe, Daryl, you got to work tomorrow, and I don't have to work tomorrow because I'm quarantining. But I do have to make sure that I get my rest so I can recover well. Okay. So Daryl, I'm going to let you kind of start off with your closing. Just kind of tell everybody where to find you if they need, your services for whatever reason. Where do they go? Who do they talk to? Et cetera, et cetera.
yeah, so what I want everybody to walk away with today is to know that, like, physical therapists aren't just there for when you get injured. They're not just there for, when your physician sends you to us. Physical therapists are movement specialists. And if you're dealing with any aches, pains, bumps, or bruises, throughout your fitness journey, come see your physical therapist. Physical therapy is actually direct access if you have a commercial payer insurance. You can come right to us and you don't need to see your physician for that. If we feel like you need to see a physician, then we can obviously make the call or, get you into a physician pretty quickly. But nonetheless, a lot of people don't really know what physical therapy is until they're in it and they see that there's so much more value to it than just, oh, I'm injured now, I need someone to help me. Like I was explaining to you, we look at and analyze movement all day. So you know, from the standpoint, if you want me to, you know, look at your squat form, your squat technique, or you're having some back pain working out with certain movements, go see your physical therapist. They can likely tease it out and figure out why, and give you some corrective strategies, and, you know, hopefully, you know, communicate with your coach. So that way you have a team surrounding you and supporting you to help, you know, so that way you can continue your fitness journey for the rest of your life. So, you know, you can find me in the Highlands clinic. You know, everybody knows where Krispy Kreme is on Barstown Road. It's right there in that shopping center. I'll, Austin, if you want to post my email or
Yeah.
a way to get in contact with me, then don't hesitate to share that. But yeah, man, I'm here for people. I love the fitness community. I love fitness athletes. You know, they're awesome. It's an awesome community to work with. It's an awesome community to be a part of. And, you know, it's definitely something that's needed to have a place to go to be able to, you know, fix your issues and keep working out. So that way you can stay healthy.
Nice, man. All right, Daryl, we appreciate you very much for being on. If you all are interested in coaching, obviously I'm going to push you in the direction of, excuse me, fitness that fits you. Okay, you can reach out to me via a DM on Instagram at austinftfy, or you can reach out to me on Facebook at Austin Z Pegram. Or if you're still not interested, if you want to get involved with one-on-one, in-person, or online coaching, go to my Fitness That Fits You information community page. Request to be a member of that page. You can see all of the posts and information, the live videos, the podcast / recording episodes like this with Mr. Daryl Williams. And that way you can kind of start receiving some value and some information. Okay. If you are big into supplements, I'm talking protein, creatine, pre-workouts, post-workouts, et cetera, you can go and visit SubHub Louisville. That's SUPHUB, SubHub Louisville, here in Louisville, Kentucky. That's going to be at 9407 Westport Road, Suite 123, and zip code is 40241. Okay. Myself and the SubHub community there, shop local, you all. We have a great relationship, if you will. Go on over there, tell them I sent you, and you will receive 20% off, up to 20% off on any of your supplements. Okay. Daryl, thanks again very much for being on, man. You are the guy, and I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Austin.
All right, man. You have a good one.
All right, you too.